Give us 60 minutes and we'll give you Nelson Radio every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on KTLK AM 1150. With 29 years in the mortgage business and an array of top-level guests visiting the show, Nelson is in a unique position to bring you cutting-edge information on real estate, business, finance, and law. If you have any questions for Nelson or any of his guests, give him a call at 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Or check him out online at nelsonradio.com.
Nelson Radio.
Welcome back to Nelson Radio. We're right here in Burbank at KTLK AM 1150's headquarters, studios, and our show every Saturday, 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Purpose of our show to bring wise insight. There it is, Marco, wise insight.
Absolutely wise.
And in all seriousness, especially with the confusion that's out there, there's no shortage of opinion in Southern California. You probably didn't realize this. No shortage of opinion, but what I find, that opinion drives people to veer to the left, drives people then to veer to the right, and then both groups saying, oh, no, you got to be in the middle.
You know, it's what's hot at the moment,
yeah,
Nelson. So...
Well, we have a great guest that's going to talk a little bit about where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. That peek around the curtain in terms of our show's theme today, The Innovator. And I'm pleased to announce that we have the CEO and founder of Resource Dynamics, Rick Kurtz. And Marco, this may surprise you. It surprised me. Rick has trained over 500,000 agents across the U.S. over his 29-year career. That, to me, sounds like a big number.
It is a very big number, so it's obviously over quite a few years.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Welcome to the program, Rick.
29 as of this May.
29. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
And a few economic changes over those 3 decades, huh?
Wow, big time, yes.
So let me lead with that in terms of the question. In your training, you've had your systems and methods and principles that produce, bottom line, that create a very productive outcome, but that's morphed over time.
It has a lot, and I think a really good way for people to understand the change would be, obviously what the internet did to the real estate industry is very simple. You know, it gave people access to data that used to be exclusive and proprietary only to a realtor. So now what has happened is the consumers gained so much control, and they are highly educated, quite savvy, and some are quite sophisticated. And the way that they communicate with a realtor and their expectations are totally different. And what used to work in the past has what I believe to be very limited results. Today, what I would tell you the biggest difference is the most successful agents that cross our path today are very good at giving people what they want and making it real easy for them to get it.
Well, Marco, and that's a cornerstone of your practice. Marco's over in the Pacific Palisades with Prudential California Realty. And you're dealing in the luxury market. You're dealing with a very accomplished buyer and seller more times than not. To me, that sets the stage for all chiefs and no Indians.
You know, Rick is absolutely correct on that. Is paving the road for them to make it as simple as process as and enjoyable as possible. And it's not always that easy, but yes, I'm dealing with a lot of very astute people that don't have a lot of time. So you got to cut through all the nonsense and get to the actual, more important points.
Do you have to win or overcome that to be the depended on consult, or are they coming in and telling you, hey, I want you to do this, this, and this?
Well, the way that I operate, there are clientele that come in and say this is what they want, but then I'm very strong in my beliefs and how I proceed with my business, so I kind of change that around a little bit.
So Rick, share with us a little bit about the training that you do, and specifically coming up in Long Beach on the 26th and 27th. You have a seminar,
right.
2-day seminar. Give us a peek behind the curtain.
Okay, so what we do is very simple. What we have is a very unique program that was created by realtors for realtors. And the reason I make that point up front is obviously in 29 years, I've done a lot of different things. You know, it evolved from promoting Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy when I was at the beginnings, and then it evolved to doing large educational DRE accreditation, continuing education things with Coldwell Banker and Century 21 and blah, blah, blah. And then it evolved from there to working with speakers and trainers, like many people are very used to hearing the big names in the business. But my point, and I'm leading up to this, is where we ended up is what was most relevant, which is what most agents want to hear or need to hear is from realtors that do it every day. So it's really the bottom line, because what agents lack in this business of residential real estate are systems. And I believe every agent is well-intended. I truly do. But well-intended or not, regardless of experience or success, most agents don't have a system that they follow every day or really every week. So what we do, which is quite unique, is we have 6 agents that are all different, and they all have different strengths. And we put together a system, which is called System 7. And we teach that program a couple times a year in different parts of the country. And I'm very privileged that these agents work with us. And the answer to your question and the different spin on it would be, it's agents teaching agents. And the difference with our program in comparison to others out there is it's all practical and it's all relevant and it's all duplicatable. So for example, we go through marketing and lead generation. We go through sellers, buyers, FSBOs, expired, social media, website, lead generation, incubation, follow-up, follow-through.
FSBOs for sale by owners.
Yeah,
Okay.
everything. And my point is each agent at our program has a strength. For example, someone up in Northern California that works the high-end market is an expired expert. And they go through, or he goes through, step 1, step 2, step 3, day 1, day 2, day 3. Here's what I do. Here's why I do it. Here's my non-threatening, relevant package of benefit to a consumer. And here is why they would contact me in relation to selling their property. I will say this too, and I think it's real important for people to hear. I think the most important thing for any agent on planet Earth is to generate appointments, because no appointments equal no deals, and no deals equal no commissions. So why on earth would anybody sell real estate? And what I've seen
Right.
I'm serious, man.
Yeah.
And what I've seen in 29 years, God knows how many awesome, intelligent people I've seen cross my desk. But at the end of the day, what separates them is the appointments. And what people forget is your appointment calendar reflects your income and your success.
Right.
You know, I mean, I did a presentation earlier today, and people asked me, okay, well, you know, what's most important? I said, your appointment calendar. I said, what you should ask yourself is how many appointments you have this week, how many did you have last week, how many did you have last month, because your appointment calendar never lies. And if you had a lot of great appointments in the last quarter, well, you made a lot of money, you know?
Or at least you're on the right road.
You're on the right road, yeah.
Absolutely. Your appointment should be full all week long.
And what all boils down to lead generation. And what consumers have become insensitive to and non-responsive to are closing tactics and pressure tactics. Because what happened in this industry is the same thing that happened in other large industries. People are much more educated. They don't need the knowledge they used to. They really do. I believe they do, but they feel like I've got access to it anyway.
So let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
This is coming right out of the Stump the Experts, and that is one of our home buyers is asking the question, in an environment of multiple offers, do I need agent representation? That's coming from the selling side. So they're thinking they can drive a stake in the front lawn and just, you know, serve Gatorade and lemonade and a line out to the garage.
You know, I let me jump in real quick.
No, go ahead.
In that particular situation, you need an agent even more. The fallout rate right now, from what we're seeing in our luxury market,
I totally agree.
In our luxury market is 27%.
Yeah.
So that means they run into escrow because there is a multiple offer situation going on, and they don't follow through. First ins and even backups falling out of escrow.
Let me stop you right there. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to have you both come back in just a second. This segment brought to you by Academy Mortgage, providing our market-exclusive lock and shop rate guarantee. Rick, this is where we freeze the interest rate before a property is even identified. It's waiting for you at the finish line. There's not the concern that during the identification and negotiation of the property that rates are going to creep up and maybe price that property out of my stretch. And so the famed lock and shop rate guarantee that's available by contacting us direct, 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136, or through nelsonradio.com. We'll be right back with the answer on why you need that agent. Welcome back to Nelson Radio on KTLK AM 1150. We've been spending time with Rick Kurtz, the CEO and founder of Resource Dynamics, a trainer that has positioned and developed over 500,000 agents across the U.S. He's giving us some insights. And right before we broke, we were talking about that perception that maybe I don't need an agent. It's a world of multiple offers. I drive a for sale sign into the front lawn, and I just start filling out deposit slips on that sale coming through. Not that easy.
I'm going to let Rick take the second part of this. Go ahead, Rick. I mean,
I couldn't disagree with that more. I think agent representation is key. I think it is a security. I think it's intelligent. And I mean, look, if I was taking myself, I don't negotiate real estate deals for a living. That's not what I do.
Right.
I mean, if you get good professional representation, it's worth its weight in gold. That's what they do. That they know the rules, they know the professional guidelines, and I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of consumers get in a lot of big trouble trying to represent themselves. I just don't think it makes sense. I frankly think it's a bit greedy, to be honest with you. I think agents are worth every nickel that they charge, as long as they provide that value. But what a seller forgets sometimes is how simple little mistakes can cost them so much.
Right.
If you had professional representation from a gentleman like Mark sitting next to me, especially in a luxury market,
right?
You make one mistake, it costs you six figures.
6 figures. It's absolutely right.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. In a blink.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
I would
pitfalls,
never recommend it.
There's so many pitfalls from the moment that you put your house up for sale to closing a deal. And if you don't have a seasoned person representing your biggest asset in your life,
right,
you are making a crucial mistake.
I agree.
So let me ask you, with your training, you have these 6 disciplines that you bring people along. Is it speaking to some of these pitfalls as well, or is that not a component of it?
I would say we go into that a little bit, but truthfully, our program is more focused on what to do first, what to do second, what to do third. How to generate a lead, what to do before the lead, how to represent yourself prior to going on to an appointment. For example, sending a seller a pre-list package. Here's who I am. Here's why you should list with me and my company. Here's my plan. What to present at a listing presentation, what people are most interested in. A lot of agents, I'll tell you respectfully, they go too much on I'm number one, I'm this, I'm that. I've done this, I've done that.
Have you ever met an agent that hasn't been number one?
Good point.
Yeah, no
Good
one's
point.
number 2, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But I think what I would politely suggest to people is to remember that everybody cares about themselves and their family.
Right.
Before me or you,
Mm-hmm.
And Mark made a really good point. It's, in Americans, it's absolutely, most people, it's their largest asset. It's a sensitive situation. And people should remember how important it is.
One point that I want to add to Rick's comments here regarding, listing presentation, the biggest failure that a real estate broker can make is when you go into a listing presentation, and yes, like he said, it's all about the agent, it's all about the company, it's all about how great you are, right? What they fail to realize, it's actually nothing about you. It's about the person you're there to listen to. So be quiet, listen, answer when asked a question, and go with the flow. You really have to find the rhythm, and a lot of agents fail. And the reason why they fail is because they're insecure. They feel self-conscious that, maybe if I say the wrong thing, I'm not going to get it. So they talk it up. And that's the wrong thing.
It seems like it's almost that world wrestling kinds of presentation where certain agents should be coming down the gangplank, and then there's steam and smoke and pyrotechnic things going off, and here I am. But it's not that.
It's not.
I have something really important to add. You know what I've learned a lot of agents do that they could do so much better is, like Mark said, they need to learn to listen. And what a lot of agents do is they go in and they kill the deal. Because what they do is they go in and they talk and talk and talk and talk. And if they had systems, like what the agents do at our program is they teach them systems to communicate with the consumer and let the consumer tell them what's most important. For example, I'll give you something real basic. If an agent walks in And they don't know that Chris and I are really sensitive to open houses. We've had a negative experience with one of our homes, and we wouldn't be comfortable working with an agent that would do those. If an agent came in and didn't know that, and they sat there for 15 minutes and told us how great they were at open houses, how they were the strength of their business, that they're dead.
That's it.
I mean, we're polite. We'd listen to them. We'd let them finish, but that's not going to work for Chris and I. And what agents forget is backing out of that and trying to convince us that that's really not their strength and that's really not what they're going to do. We wouldn't be comfortable with that. Instead of what? Walking in, having a simple checklist or a format, for example. What's most important to you? 0, least important, 5, most. You know, open houses, commissions, saleability, pricing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, if someone knows, hey, I'm concerned on a 5 here, then obviously you know up front in the first 10 minutes, man, I better be sensitive to this. Instead of what? Coming in and shooting yourself in the head?
Right. You're listening to Nelson Radio. I'm with Marco Ruffo. We have Rick Kurtz, the CEO and founder of Resource Dynamics, with us, and his upcoming seminar up in Long Beach Hilton, on August 26th and 27th. Let me frame up this question for you. Marco is a seasoned professional, one of the premier agents in his area of Pacific Palisades. Why does he need to be at your seminar?
Everybody, I think, no matter what, should be open to something new. Nobody knows everybody doesn't. Most people feel like I know a lot, and a lot of people are really good at it. But then there's always that 2, 3, 4 things that you could learn from somebody that would make a really big difference. And, you know, I think that there's a lot of practical information. I think there's simple information. And
let me add to that. You know, to answer your question, I think you're absolutely right. And the reason for that is we're a tool. And we have to sharpen our tool. We forget things. We put things aside. Oh, wow. Have you ever said to yourself, you know, I just learned, you learn something every day. The saying, I learn something every day. Well, that's the reason why.
You know, it's funny because it reminds me of a talking to that I got to from my dad when I was flying. And he's a pilot, and he said, remember this, there's old pilots and bold pilots, but there's not any old, bold pilots. And as you get more senior in your practice, whatever discipline, it's easy to go, yeah, I can thump my chest, and now I'm tenured and I'm bold in my business. But you do need to sharpen those tools.
You got to sharpen the tool. I'm a true believer that their education never stops.
To say that the business in Southern California is competitive is an understatement. And to think that you know everything that's just not a good thing to be.
And especially coming out of the Great Recession, where it is the new normal from a business environment, with our Commander-in-Chief, President Obama, waving the flag of reform for our housing industry. And who knows what that means? I don't. We're going to be talking about that as we go into the next segment. But it's important that we do sharpen our tools and just become better educated. Education never hurt anybody, right?
Never hurt anybody.
Never. Systems create a predictable, consistent outcome.
There you go. That's Rick Kurtz from Resource Dynamics, and his seminar coming up on August 26th and 27th. The real estate agent community across Southern California should take a look at this. You can resource Rick's information through nelsonradio.com or give us a call direct at 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Stay tuned. We've got Coach's Corner, and really one of the most unique home builders that I've ever come across in my career. Coming up, stay with us.
Nelson is a licensed lender under the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 331060.
This is Nelson from Nelson Radio, and it's important that we talk about a very serious issue. We had bad lending practices that led to the mortgage meltdown, but now we've got the challenge of deplorable customer service coming out of the meltdown. Bottom line, getting a new loan can be like pulling teeth without Novocaine. I've got the solution. Academy Mortgage and my team are injecting into the industry real performance and real accountability. Here are the facts. Appraisals in less than a week. Rate guarantees that can improve if the market goes down. Purchase transactions with our market-exclusive close-on-time guarantees, and refinance transactions in as little as 30 days. Who would have thunk? Guaranteed rates and guaranteed performance from your mortgage lender. Call me, Nelson, an accountable loan expert for nearly 3 decades. Direct at 888-888-2136. That's Nelson at 888-888-2136. 888-2136 or at strongcreditrewards.com.